Hi, welcome back to Bride Society. I'm Rebecca and this is Laura. So if you're looking for ways to make your wedding more sustainable, eco-conscious, we are giving you 3 swaps for how to make those changes to your day. So we're not just necessarily getting perfection here, but just those like small changes that if we all do them can kind of accumulate to a bigger change.
So first up, we're talking jewellery. Now this might not be kind of the first thing you think of initially when you're thinking about sustainability. You might be thinking more like getting rid of the plastics, etc, etc. But with jewellery there can also be quite a few problems with things like worker conditions, provenance of materials, so it is something to consider if you're on that sustainability journey, so to speak. So obviously there are options like using vintage jewellery. You can use second-hand or pre-loved jewellery, or even it could be something borrowed. So if there's maybe a piece of jewellery in the family that you want to wear on your special day, you could maybe use that.
Indeed, but it doesn't necessarily mean that you can't get something new. You can still make progress down this road, even if you know it's your wedding. You maybe do want something new and special, so you can still do that. There are now like ethically minded, sustainably conscious companies out there, like Luisa, which is a New York-based company that recently got in touch with us to tell us about their sort of sustainable ethos and gave us the opportunity actually to pick out a couple of items from their website that we thought might be good for you guys, like for things like whether you're a bride, for your bridesmaids, or even just a wedding guest. So it's some really like versatile jewelry and just quite a wide range.
Oh yes, and really good price points as well, because I think they start from about £33.
Yeah, so I picked out this bangle from their website, which is called Pietro, I think you say it.
Sorry, how
you say it. Yeah. Which was £50. And I mean, I picked it because for me, I think it's quite a neutral bangle, so it could really easily be dressed up and down. So not only could I use it as a bride if you just want something simple, it's again for your bridesmaids or as a guest, but you could also just wear it to the office or day to day. So again, not a one-time piece of jewellery, which is great in terms of sustainability as well.
And I chose these earrings, if you can see, these are the Celeste earrings, and these are £64. And one of the reasons I chose these from the website was because, as we mentioned before in our 2021 wedding trends video, celestial is a huge trend in weddings this year. So these would be perfect again if you're the bride and just want a subtle hint of that celestial, like wearing the celestial trend, or as gifts for your bridesmaids. Again, they're dainty enough that they're not like an overt, here's lots of stars and moons.
Yeah, it's not in your face.
No. And again, they can be worn afterwards. I'd happily wear these most places, again, styled up and down. But yeah, that nod to the trends, but could be worn for many years to come as well.
Yeah, and so there really is a whole range of stuff on there. So if you're looking for something as you as the bride that's maybe on the more traditionally sort of bridal scale, they have a diamond necklace on there as well. And what fits in with the sustainable ethos is that all their diamonds are lab grown as well, which is amazing. You can also get your something blue from them. So they have blue stones like set in necklaces as well, which could work well for the bride.
Yeah. And if you're looking for some gifts for your bridesmaids, they have a range, either a necklace or a bracelet, where they're interlocking circles, which Luisa themselves say kind of highlight the eternal bond of like love and friendship. So it has a really nice meaning behind the jewellery, which is perfect for that bond with your bridal party, which is something that when they wear that in the future, it's something really special from you to them.
Yeah. And so if you want to give these as gifts, no matter where you are, they ship worldwide. And actually what is great is that even that has been taken into account with their sustainable ethos. So in terms of like offsetting those emissions, that's all being taken into account. It's not just the production of the jewellery.
No, and we were impressed on the website by how transparent they were about all their sustainability efforts. Their claims of using the recycled materials, where everything's come from. Depending on the material, they tell you exactly which country those are from. They've got a zero waste philosophy, and as they also talk about being carbon neutral throughout the whole life cycle of the jewellery.
They have also very kindly given us, and therefore you, a 10% off discount code, which we'll write in the description box below, but it's Bride Society 10, and along with a link which is, as I say, in the description box, so you can view all the products that we've been talking about today and everything else that's on their website, because there is a lot more choice on there as well.
So the next of our categories for a sustainable swap is with your flowers or wedding florals. So one of the easiest things to do to be a bit more sustainable with your flower choices, if you're going down the fresh flower route, is choosing local flowers and seasonal flowers. So it's much more sustainable to choose kind of peonies in May than to expect them in November, for example. And in recent years, if you're in the UK, there's been a big boom in British flower growers, so there's lots more options now for getting more locally sourced flowers, which reduces down on transport costs, so you're not necessarily importing as many from abroad, which helps with air miles, etc. And helping your local community and putting money back into the local community.
As well, when you're maybe like looking for the florist you're going to use, it's worth asking some questions. So about whether they use like sort of organic fertilizers, the use of pesticides. You need to keep the bugs off the plants, which understandably they want to do, but obviously there's an impact to the environment there. So little or no pesticide use, or even just if they've got if there's certified labels that they're associated with, such as being fair trade, that kind of thing. So just asking some questions around those kind of things to your prospective suppliers.
And it can also just be something as simple as, does the florist you're using deliver their products in plastic or paper? Because obviously we're trying to reduce plastics overall, and if you can use recycled paper or paper to be recycled, that's obviously helpful again for the environment.
Again, if you are going for the fresh cut flowers, it is thinking about what happens after the day, so that again, just if we are making that cost to the environment, like it becomes a little more use out of them. So repurposing them. Can you encourage your guests to take home the table centerpieces or the flowers that were dotted around, that kind of thing, or have them distributed to local hospice, something like that, so they don't just sort of wither and die afterwards, basically. Repurposing or something even composting. So again, it can just act as a fertilizer for the garden.
Yeah, and that helps you then in the future so your flowers in your own garden are even better.
Cycle of life.
Something else to consider when you're looking for your florist is, do they use floral foam? Again, this is something, it's less common now, but florists still do use it. It contains plastics, and obviously we're trying to avoid that. Yeah.
And some toxic chemicals as well, I believe.
So whether they use alternatives, is it like chicken wire, pebbles and things in your containers to keep it, rather than using floral foam. There's lots and lots of florists now are able to do huge elaborate installations, so don't think I can't use floral foam, I can't have a really impressive floral display. There's lots you can do without using it. So
yeah, it's a lot of creativity and imagination out there. And so if you want to move away from the fresh cut flowers or just reduce the number you have, there's other alternatives and routes you could go down. So on your tables you could have plants. Yeah, so obviously afterwards take them home, plant them in the garden and make the bees happy. Like what they call everlasting flowers, so dried flowers. So maybe start with a bouquet that's dried that you can have displayed in your home afterwards.
And if you don't want to go down the fresh or dried flower route, then you could always create flowers out of recycled paper. So if you're a fan of a particular like book, you could recycle the book pages and turn them into flowers, or
bit of Jane Eyre there in
well, yeah, maybe.
Harry Potter.
Well, yeah, whatever floats your boat. Like you could have musical music paper, if you're music lovers, particular song, then you've got those nods to your like personal touches in the wedding, but turning it into maybe your bouquet or your centerpieces.
So last up we have got fashion as category. So what you, if you're the bride or bridesmaids, are wearing for the day. So there's obviously like maybe what initially comes to mind now is that you can very much get like pre-loved, so pre-owned wedding dresses, things that are maybe, well, they've probably been worn once, if at all, in some cases. So there's a lot of different sellers now where you can find these items online, like reliable sellers. So yeah, pre-loved, vintage, you know, you could even upcycle your mum's wedding dress perhaps, and then that becomes your something borrowed, your something new because you've like upcycled it,
something old,
yeah, and you know, stitch in something blue and you've got yourself the full set.
And also something that's recently become a bit more popular is renting your outfits. So obviously this is more common for like men's suits and things, but there are lots of options now to rent your dress as well, potentially. So if you're going down the pre-loved or kind of upcycling route, you may need to get some alterations done, or definitely, well, more than likely get some alterations done if you're changing your mum's wedding dress, especially if it was like an 80s or 90s with big puffy sleeves.
It would have been quite a big change, I think, for my mum's. My mum, although she got married in the middle of August, it was again the hottest day of the year that year, had picked out her wedding gown in winter and had like full length sleeves, high necks, full length dress. So yeah, I think she would have encouraged me to have changed that if I'd been using that.
So yeah, you might not be that nifty with a sewing machine yourself, so you might want to look at a professional and looking at local dressmakers who can make those changes for you, who again local to you, so you don't have to send it off anywhere far away.
Yeah, so it's a great idea when you're picking out who's going to make your dress, what company, what individual, is to do some research and ask questions about their sustainable production, what their ethos is. So do they have like a low waste ethos? You know, you can get some companies who have like a zero waste cutting technique, or at the very least that they responsibly recycle scraps, you know, cutting whether they're fair trade, that kind of thing as well.
Yeah, you might also want to think about the fabrics that your dress is made of, or outfit is made of, if you're not going for a dress. So maybe organic cotton or bamboo has been turned into fabric, or you might find some vintage fabric, again, which is it's not a new thing that's been produced, because often in fabric production it can use a lot of resources. So if the fabric has already been made and you're just reusing it, then you're giving it that second life without adding to the kind of resources being used.
Yeah, and you can get things made out of bamboo, but also things like, even you see things out of like recycled plastic bottles now. Like, there's no way there is not people doing things out like wet bridal wear. I haven't looked at that specifically, I should say, but there's got to be, if you know of a brand, tag them below. I'd be interested to see. But yeah, but the thing is, even if you still want to go, you know, mass produced, like high street, any of that, you can still make a choice to maybe, like with your bridesmaids dresses, so maybe think about trying to pick out dresses that they feel confident they would wear again after the day. So maybe not something that's overly sort of bridesmaidsy, but something they could wear to a nice dinner, to a show, you know, to another formal event. So it's not a one-time wear, straight becoming waste product.
So So hopefully you found some of those sustainable swaps helpful, and if you've got any plans to make your wedding more sustainable, we'd love to hear about it in the comments below. Don't forget to check out Anna Louisa's website so you can see everything that we talked about in the video and everything else they offer, and we're sure there's going to be something on there that you love, either for yourself or as a gift for like bridesmaids, or just as anybody else if you want to gift. So check out the website using the link in the description box below. Don't forget that we've got a 10% discount code, Bride Society 10, and that gives you 10% off everything on the website. Is that true?
That is true.
Give us a like if you like this video. Don't forget to subscribe, and we'll see you next time.